guys? It's Kyle Smiley from Kairos MMA. I want to talk to you about this event really quick. Derrick versus Junior Dos Santos. I'm not going to lie. I was this close to not watching it whatsoever. I thought that it was a terrible card. And you want to know why? Because I'm spoiled. This entire year, the UFC has put together stacked events from top to bottom. And on paper, this looked like the most whack card I've ever seen. It looked like they just threw this out here just to buy time until the next stacked card. And you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong only from the standpoint of how the fights delivered. The matchups, I wasn't wrong. You had Beneil Dariush. He decided he was going to come back in style, armbar, second round. Absolutely masterful performance. Drew Dober, he looked like he was going to win this fight by decision. He looked like he was going to grind this out, but Beneil Dariush, successful return. Ben Rothwell, not so lucky. He lost by decision. I thought that he won. So did everybody else. You had Yana Kunitskaya get a decision win. The people thought that she didn't win. And you got a few other people who are rising. I'm putting the results down to the left and also a ticker on the bottom if you guys get to that. But more importantly, I want to talk to you about interim titles. UFC 236 is having 2 interim title fights for the main and the co-main event. First one, Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum. The next one is Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. I think one thing that I'm sick and tired of seeing is interim titles. And here's why. The UFC doesn't value them. So why should I value them? You had a champion and Tony Ferguson who racked up the interim title by beating the living daylights out of every single person you put in front of him. You gave him Rafael Dos Anjos, he beat him in 5 rounds. He sent him up to 170 pounds. You gave him Kevin Lee, young hungry prospect, triangled, second round. He wins the interim title. Fast forward a little bit. Freak accident a month later. You guys strip him. And why? So Khabib and Al Iaquinta can fight, or so Khabib and Conor McGregor can fight for the title? Why? If the interim title guarantees you fight next for the title, then you better fight next for the title. Why do we constantly have fighters given these titles and then they do not get to fight for the title following that? Another example, Colby Covington, one of the most hated fighters on the planet. His mother probably can't even stand him. He is the most obnoxious. I thought Dana White was going to give him his next title fight at heavyweight against Daniel Cormier. That's how much hated he is. But I digress. He doesn't get his title shot. Tyron Woodley ends up fighting Kamaru Usman, loses. Dana White says he's getting this title shot. Great, I guess. But it still makes you think, why are certain champions held to a certain standard that others are not? You had Rose Namajunas. Injures her back, hasn't fought in almost a year. I believe she hasn't fought in over a year. Don't quote me on that. She isn't stripped of her belt. Conor McGregor goes 2 years without fighting. He isn't stripped of his belt. So why on earth are you stripping Tony Ferguson without even due process? He was stripped in under a month. Tore his knee. You guys didn't even look at the recovery time. He recovered in 4 months. I believe it was like less than 5 months. Came back, beat Anthony Pettis, made him quit in the second round. Couldn't come off the stool. His corner felt so bad, they threw in the towel. Come on, man. Come on. And it doesn't help that the fighters don't stand up for themselves. Listen to this. You have Tony Ferguson saying, I'm not going to fight for the interim title on UFC 236. Valid. I completely agree, because then he's given an interim title, and it's not guaranteed that he's going to fight for the title again against Khabib. Why should he do it again? But then lo and behold, a week later, he says, well, my weight sits in between 170 pounds and 200 pounds. Therefore, I'm going to sit around and be the replacement in case someone gets hurt. Why? Why not just accept it? Why are you doing this? Tony Ferguson is the type of dude to not accept a title fight, but sit as a replacement for a title shot. He's the type of guy to lather Vaseline on himself rather than, He's the type of guy to lather Vaseline on his cornerman rather than himself in between rounds. Pause again. He's the type of guy to fight with boxing gloves when he's sparring jiu-jitsu. This man is ridiculous. He's part of the problem. If you aren't going to represent yourself to the fullest extent, why should the UFC care about you? Why should anyone respect you if you are not willing to respect yourself? This is exactly why you guys should have had the Fighters Union a few years ago. Leslie Smith and a few other guys bit that bullet so you guys could have this union. And guess what? You got people saying, I don't want to do that. We don't need a union. You're independent contractors. Yes, you do. Some of the most important things that we have in this nation are because of unions. Workers' comp. That's because of a union. Maternity leave. That's because of a union. Proper hours and proper conditions in a workplace. Unions. How can you guys continue to turn a blind eye to what the UFC is doing to you but you aren't willing to do anything for yourself to improve your current situation. It's ridiculous. And let's talk about another thing. You got Khabib Nurmagomedov deciding, you know what? I'm going to chase a fight with GSP and not fight for my title. But he doesn't get stripped. Okay, fine. You could say, well, it didn't materialize, Kairos, so why should he get stripped? All right, fine, valid point. But then why does he say, my suspension ends in April, but I'm going to wait until December to fight because my teammates are not fighting? You were willing to fight GSP before you said that. But the UFC didn't do anything about that. I digress, though. Let's move into a different direction. Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway, like I said, fighting for an interim title on UFC 236. You know what? I'm going to stream it illegally. I'm going to stream it illegally because they don't deserve my $60 for 2 interim titles that they don't even care about. The UFC does not care about interim titles, so why should I? Comment down below and tell me, why should I care about an interim title if the UFC does not? Whoever has the best answer, you know what? I'll call it. I'll be like, well, that's a great point. You're right. Wrong. This is my channel. I'm always right. Now, yes, Dustin Poirier deserves to fight for a title. Yes, he's been on a tear. Yes, Max Holloway is a great title challenger. He's on a tear. He's cleared out his division at 145 pounds. But he really should stay down there. There's a guy named Alexander Volkanovski, I believe. He just defeated Chad Mendes. He's getting ready to fight Jose Aldo for a shot at the title next, I believe. Why isn't he the next in line? Why are we clogging up divisions, but then we say we don't want to clog up divisions? If he has 2 titles, if he wins this interim title, he's fighting for 155 pounds next. So what, he's supposed to bounce in between the 2 weight classes, knocking off competitors? Yes, Max Holloway is incredibly active as a fighter. But you just said you didn't want the divisions clogged. You strip fighters when they decide they want to be champs like Daniel Cormier and Conor McGregor. So why is this any different? Why are you putting him in a position for him to drop the belt? Anyway, this is too deep for y'all. This is way too deep. The UFC, y'all know what you're doing with these interim titles, and I don't respect you for it. I'm Kairos MMA. Have a great day.